Hi, welcome. I'm Carrie.
And I'm Will.
And this is the Baseball Unchained podcast, where a husband and wife discuss current happenings in Major League Baseball. There are currently 56 days until opening day, which is one more day than the number of wins that Washington achieved last year. What are we talking about today?
Today, we are talking about several signings and extensions, including the Rays extending 3 players, the Mets extending Jeff McNeil, a trade the Orioles made, and giving them some
Orioles.
Love and props.
Orioles.
Zach Greinke coming back to the Royals, Blue Jays getting a little bit of talk, and we're talking about Jazz Chisholm on the cover of MLB The Show 23, and Kasumba Dennis, a Ugandan teenage catcher who was trying to break into MLB.
Well, cool. Let's get into it.
All right, so last time we made a bet on Jazz Chisholm and whether or not he would make 4 errors over under fielding and throwing. I was trying to think of something kind of crazy to do instead of just buying something for each other for the winner, but not really sure what to do because I just took it from 0 to 100 and thought of like super crazy shit.
And wanted to go streaking.
Yeah, not doing that. Nobody wants to see that.
I was going to offer something like footing the bar tab at a game, but my money is your money. We would both be paying for it.
Yeah, that's why the money thing wasn't really like a thing.
Yeah.
That I was thinking of. So
you guys let us know if you think of anything good.
Yeah, we need help.
We need help. In more ways than one. But specifically with this. Help us decide what the loser has to do.
Last time we also talked about Wade Boggs at the end and his epic beer drinking. And there was some details that we wanted to iron out. It wasn't in an interview that he said it. He went on to film a episode with It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And the episode was about the characters in the show trying to break his record of beers drank in a single day before he went on to go 3 for 5 against the Mariners the next day. And they believed that it was between 50 and 75, and one of the characters ended up accomplishing it at 70-ish beers. And when they landed in California, he hits a home run, and the guy that threw it to him said that he only brought 1 ball and he didn't think he was going to hit it that far. So they just called it at that instead of him swinging for a few more times.
Commissioner says you did it.
So anyway, Boggs was on the set for that show, and they had written into the script and everything that it was 70 beers, but when they were behind the scenes, he told Charlie Day that it was actually 107.
Did he appear in the episode at all? Or in any of the episodes?
He was in that episode. He appeared as a ghost on the plane next to him. Like he had a vision of Wade Boggs.
Duh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was his only appearance, though. That's like, a vision. Other things that we talked about last week that I would like to touch back on are the arbitration deals that were made. These deals that we talked about were for the Rays team because although not admittedly a priority in this podcast, they do carry some weight. You know who else can carry some weight?
Gary.
Yandy Diaz with his massive biceps, which I think those biceps could probably crush a baseball, but the world may never know.
Could probably crush your skull.
I have no doubt, but I think that my skull is a little softer than a baseball.
Maybe.
My skull is hollow. Do you want to talk about science, or do you want to talk about baseball?
Well, there's a lot of science in there.
Do you want to talk about this baseball, or do you want to talk about the science of crushing my skull?
probably shouldn't go into that.
Hmm.
And seems like a true crime thing.
I have been binging Murder with My Husband.
As long as you don't murder your husband.
In one of the episodes that I listened to today, she asked her husband how much money it would take for him to kill her. Like if someone was like, I'll give you this much money if you kill your wife.
$5.
After recording this episode, I'd probably do it for free. I'd make you... No, that was the thing. I would pay you money to let me kill him.
That was just the first number that came into my head.
$5.
I was just curious what he would have said.
He wouldn't answer.
Oh.
So that's good. Anyways, Yandi signed a contract for a 3-year, $24 million extension. Fairbanks also did a 3-year, $12 million with an option up to $24.6 million. And Jeffrey Springs got the longest signing of 4 years with $31 million.
So it's surprising that they signed anyone to extensions because, like we talked about before, they normally only just reach the arbitration agreement and then trade them or let them go at the end of the year. And they extended 2 pitchers, which they normally don't even entertain extending pitchers into their 30s. The only one they might have done ordinarily would be Yandi because he's coming off of such a good season where he could have been an all-star. He was 90th percentile in whiff rate and hard hit percentage, which was the only player in Major League Baseball last year to be 90th percentile or higher in those categories, which means that he made contact with the ball 90% of the time or higher when it was in the zone, and also hit the stuffing out of it when he made contact with it, which didn't always result in hits. Sometimes they're hit right at guys, but still, you compare that with guys like Quan on the Guardians, who has the high contact rate, but just bloops singles over people's heads a lot of the time. Like he did against us when McClanahan was pitching, and it frustrated the heck out of me because
it bloops. We hate
it
bloopers.
bloops.
I think it's also kind of surprising that they decided to extend Fairbanks for as long as they did with the whole numb finger thing that he experienced. But an article that I read said that neither he nor the Rays are concerned with the diagnosis that he has. He kind of just brushed it off like, yeah, I have Raynaud's disease and it is what it is, but I'm fine.
What is Raynaud's disease? It's not like a stingray nose disease, right? He's on the Rays.
I get it. Ray knows that's a bad joke.
Yeah. Who's Ray?
Mund.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
The trouble I've seen.
Raynaud's disease is when the blood vessels in your hands and your feet react too strongly to cold and stress. The smaller arteries in your hands and feet narrow, which limits the blood flow, which is considered a vasospasm.
Speaking from our personal experience with watching baseball last year, we went to spring training. I think it was the one that was at the Rays facility last year. And Fairbanks came on for a relief appearance, and we watched him leave the game with an injury, which kept him out for half the year last year. And then when we were watching the playoff game, and I saw them zoom in on him when they came to the mound, and you could read his lips and said, "I can't feel my hand." I was like,
Nice.
That sounds pretty serious. So glad to know that it's not serious at all. It's just happens when he gets too cold. So The only way to stop him is to put him in a freezer. Otherwise, he's going to throw heat right by you.
How much money would it take for you to put him in a freezer?
$5.
I mean, I guess a perk to him signing for 3 more years with the Rays is good old Tropicana Field. A balmy 72 degrees.
Yep.
Year round. Not too hot, not too cold. The perfect porridge. It's always hot.
It's kind of stuffy in the stands.
It's so hot.
Yeah. But it's better than being outside in 90-degree weather in the summer.
I don't know if any of you saw the Instagram post that we shared, but the projection, the proposed plans for the new situation look stellar. And they never look how they're drawn, but here's hoping that it does.
Yeah, they modeled it similar to the Braves, the way the Braves have it, where the stadium is in a neighborhood type deal with bars and stuff around it, and theirs looks pretty cool. Hopefully they'll be able to do that with St. Pete and draw more people.
You've never been there?
To the Braves Stadium? No.
Jessica had asked me at your dad's birthday dinner what stadiums we plan to see this year, and I could only think of 2, so maybe we can just pop up to Atlanta.
Yeah. It's not that far of a drive.
It feels closer than Miami does.
It's not, but...
I know, but it feels like it.
We're definitely going to go to Colorado, though.
Yeah, that was the only other one I had.
Yeah. What was the second one? You said 2.
The Trop.
Doesn't count.
Are we going?
Yeah, but it doesn't count.
Is it a stadium?
Moving on.
Counts. I was really ready for you to say something back.
The only one we didn't cover out of those 3 yet is Springs, who had the lowest or second lowest ERA on the team last year, which on a team that has McClanahan, Rasmussen, Glasnow, all those guys, is pretty impressive. First full year as a starter to put up those kind of numbers.
Yeah, I had a note on here that it leaves him with other starters, but you listed them all. Except for free agent Zach Eflin.
So, again, at least I'm not trying to be biased, but I've seen a lot of projections come out with who has the top rotation in baseball this year. Unbiased, I would put the Rays in the top 5. Biased, top 2. And not 2.
Who's 2?
Probably the Yankees. But you have McClanahan, Glasnow, Rasmussen, Springs, and Eflin, who they just brought in, who was really good for the Phillies last year.
Speaking of unusual deals, like what the Rays did by signing old folk, the Blue Jays signed a really weird deal with Chad Green. He left the Yankees for what more than one article used the word convoluted when describing that deal.
In what way?
There are several options for the deal.
What team and player?
Yeah, so he signed a 2-year deal with the Blue Jays for $2.25 million in 2023. Then the Jays can pick up a 3-year option for $9 million per year through 2026. If he doesn't like that option, then they can offer 1 more year for $6.25 million, or they can offer 2 years for $21 million, depending on the amount of time that he's actually played.
I think the reason for that is that he's another guy that's coming off of Tommy John surgery. He only pitched in 14 games for the Yankees last year. He's a more than decent pitcher. You know, over his career, he's just over a 3 ERA and really good in the postseason, has like 18 career postseason games, 3-0 record as a reliever, which means he can come in, hold the score at what it is, and then maybe give you multiple innings and then get a win out of it. But like my first thought when I saw that the Blue Jays signed him and knowing he was coming from the Yankees was, are the Blue Jays just trying to get a scouting report on how the Yankees pitched against their hitters?
Interesting.
That was one of my first thoughts.
My first thought was that he was joining Kevin.
Kevin has really assimilated himself very quickly, latching on to Vladdy Jr. and going out to Maple Leafs games.
I mean, he used to go to Lightning games all the time.
Yeah, but they're huge rivals. And a lot of people in Tampa are like, what the hell are you doing, KK?
He's watching hockey.
They feel betrayed. I really
How do you think he
I really
feels?
could care less about KK. So
How do you think he feels?
He knows it's a business. I mean,
He should have just retired.
he's too cocky to retire. He thinks he's got a couple good more years in him.
He hasn't had a good year in a really long time, and he always said that he wanted to be a one-team player
Well, now he's a two-team player.
for the Blue Jays.
Unless the Rays kind of did the anti-Chad Green move and they let him go to the Blue Jays so that he can sabotage them when they play each other. Because he actually stole the scouting report from the Blue Jays catcher last year. He slid into home and then...
He didn't steal it. He thought it was his.
Sure. Just like he didn't know Randy was in the outfield next to him when he jumped in front of him to make a showboat catch.
He didn't say that the reason that he did it was because he didn't know Randy was there.
He said, well, that's right. Exactly. He proved my point. He said he's the best out there. So
If he thinks he can catch it, why shouldn't he catch it?
because it was out of his position.
When you're in
Wasn't
center
his
field,
ball.
nothing is out of your
It wasn't
position.
his ball to catch. This wasn't even in our outline for the day.
Nope. Just things that you know.
We feel very strongly about Kevin Kiermaier.
In which direction we feel is pretty much up for debate all the time. Why don't we just go ahead and keep with the division?
Okay. The Orioles added a pitcher from the Oakland A's, Cole Irvin. He's a solid pitcher. He's not crazy good. He wasn't like a blockbuster trade or anything, but he's solid, and he could probably slot into maybe 3 or 4 in their rotation. He's a left-handed pitcher, and the Orioles just extended that wall back in left field, and a lefty throwing to a righty means they have to hit it farther to get it out of the fence. And what I liked about this move for the Orioles is they traded from a position where they have a lot of depth, which is infielders, and they filled a need to add more depth to their rotation.
I didn't find anything interesting about him.
So you don't have anything on him?
No, I do have something on Oriole Park, though.
Okay.
I went there. That's the whole thing.
The whole thing.
Yeah. I went in 2019. Originally, we had just gone to have a stadium tour because that's like a cool thing. And then we enjoyed the stadium tour so much that we ended up going to the game to watch the Orioles play someone who were so insignificant at the time. I don't remember who they were, but there was like 13 people in the whole stadium for the whole game. Food, super good. Camden Yards, perfection.
This is my I'm giving the Orioles some love segment. I'll make weird. Did you make a weird face?
Did I not just give them love?
You gave their stadium love.
That is an extension of them.
So they added depth in their starting rotation.
And their field.
And their field. And they are getting John Means, who went out with Tommy John toward the end of 21, I believe. They're getting him back this year, and he will probably take over back in the top spot of the rotation or second. Adley Rutschman had a great year last year as a rookie, over 800 OPS and he had 101 hits. Half of them were for extra bases. He's going into year 2, and they have the most top 100 prospects in multiple prospect rating lists, MLB, Fangraphs, all those. So they overachieved last year, and I said it on our Twitter that I think that they could be the team that both surprises everyone and doesn't surprise anyone, because they have so many talented players on their team that they could be the surprise of the league and possibly make a run for the division, but it won't surprise a lot of people that see what's going on with their team and see what they're building.
Yeah, I just think it would suck really bad if we lost to the Orioles.
We lost to the Orioles a lot last year. We won the season series by 1 game. So last time we talked about Pablo Lopez and Luis Arias trade, and we touched on that Arias was the batting champion for the American League.
Yes.
The National League batting champion, Jeff McNeil, just got extended by the Mets. And so they keep their batting champion, unlike the Twins. And like so many other moves that they made this year, just paying anyone and everyone who will take the money from them to be on their team. But in this case, I think they got a pretty good deal. Position player, like infielders are getting a lot of money this offseason.
$15 million extension for 4 years. Do you know what that brings the Mets payroll up to?
I don't know the exact amount, but I know it's a crap ton.
Their projected payroll right now is $467 million.
How much is that over the luxury tax threshold thing?
A lot.
I know Talking Baseball on their episode said that the owner Steve Cohen is pretty much paying dollar for dollar out of his own pocket over the threshold now for the luxury tax. And I think it's double. So whatever you are over the luxury tax, you have to pay that double as a penalty. And he's still making all these moves.
And you would kill me for $5?
The Mets would pay me.
Probably. Probably give you the bat.
Like I was saying, I think this is a bargain compared to what other position players were getting in free agency. They made a run at getting Correa, and I think they were still going to pay 200 plus million for him, even after the Giants' physical failed. So, yeah, they were going to pay Correa over 200 million, and then he also failed their physical. Big surprise, which is it's like the same doctors.
I mean, it's really hard to say. A random grandma can meet Yandy at the doctor when he's getting his physical, so
Yes.
who knows where they're going.
But I think it's compared to what other people were getting in similar positions, signing the batting champion of the National League for, trying to do math real quick, 12, 13 million a year.
Proud of you.
That's really kind of a steal.
Yep. He only had 242 strikeouts of 2,039 appearances.
That's his career.
Yeah.
Kind of like Yandy in that sense. Makes contact a lot, but I don't think he hits the ball as hard. He's like between Yandy and Kwan.
Greinke. Blukey. So Zach Greinke was re-signed to the Royals for his 20th Major League Baseball season. It's going to be his 9th season with the Royals. He's also played for the Brewers, the Dodgers, the Angels, the Diamondbacks, and the Astros.
He's like a rare breed of pitcher. Like, he does not throw hard anymore, but he's got like the knuckleball type pitch and the ephus where it goes like 50 miles an hour but still gets into the strike zone.
Like if Brett could successfully throw a pitch with intention.
Yeah, he's just like a quirky guy. He's got some really great quotes, one of which I shared earlier this week about Chipotle.
We do love Chipotle.
Here's Grinky on Chipotle. I like the guacamole. Now, I don't really love the guacamole, so I get it when I feel like it. They changed their guacamole from 150 to 180. I mean, 150 is already pretty darn high, so they changed it to 180, and I'll never again get guacamole. It's not about the guacamole itself. I just don't want to let them win.
When is that quote from?
I don't know, but guacamole is a lot more than 180
It's
now.
$2.80.
Yeah, so it was probably at least 5 years ago or so.
I'm outraged at Chipotle. You know what I get every time I get a burrito bowl?
Guacamole.
Guacamole.
Inflation's a bitch.
Yeah. So is my
Talking
mom.
to you.
Did you hear me?
What did you say? You say so's your mom?
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, Pam.
Pam's catching strays.
So, do you
You're
have...
not a bitch.
You're not a bitch, Mom. Sorry. I love you. Do you have any fun facts about Greinke?
I gave my fun fact. That was the Chipotle thing.
Okay. Do you know where Greinke was born? Greinke was born in Orlando, Florida. He attended Apopka High School. That's close to us. I won't tell you how close, though. So, now that we've gotten all of the money talk out of the way, we have 2 fun topics. Let's save the best for last.
Okay. First, we're going to talk about Jazz Chisholm again. I feel like this episode has a theme to it because last week we talked about how many players the Rays had that were up for arbitration deals.
7.
And they extend 3 of them.
There's 4 left.
Well, last week we talked about the Twins trading their batting champion. The Mets extend their batting champion. Last week we talked about Jazz Chisholm moving from second base to center field and
winning Gold Gloves.
And winning Gold Gloves. This week comes out that he is going to be the cover athlete for MLB The Show 23.
It's by far my favorite cover that I've seen.
It's very vibrant.
Yes. And I feel like it's very fitting of his personality.
Yeah. He's like a really energetic player and celebrates and plays with a lot of passion, which a lot of people don't care for.
Yeah.
But I think it brings more young fans to watch baseball, which is a good thing.
He is the first Miami Marlin in history to be featured on the cover in the American version.
Wait, what?
In the American version of the game, he was the first Marlin.
What other versions are there?
There was a Vietnamese one that had a different Miami Marlin featured on the cover.
I thought it was just the same cover across everywhere.
Nope.
Interesting.
Yeah. Don't ask me what that guy's name was.
I was going to say, who's the Vietnamese version?
Don't know. It took me the entire sentence that I was saying beforehand to remember that it was Vietnamese. I wanted to say Venetian.
I saw the graphic that MLB posted that showed all the teams that have had an athlete on the cover. The Rays don't have one.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah,
Saddened a little, but not surprised.
they tend to not really have a whole lot of star power.
I think that they also lack charisma. What's the other thing that's on the shirt?
Huh?
That shirt that we have. I was making fun of a quote that someone else had.
Oh,
Not charismatic or
interesting or charismatic.
yeah.
Yeah.
While I strongly disagree with that, I think that is likely to be commonly thought amongst
Yeah.
other fans.
Yeah. MLB is probably like, they don't even sell tickets to their own games. How are we going to sell copies of this game with a Ray on the cover?
To the Rays organization, I assure you, you will sell more tickets to your games if you drop the temperature in the top and make the seats just a little wider. Thank you.
Last, we have.
Oh, I still had more fun facts. He's the first Bahamian born to be on the cover, which I feel like is a big deal to share this month. Also, the celebration that he does when he does good things, the Euro step, is a thing that he's done since his childhood. He used to Euro step around his teachers while walking down the hallway at school. And then he hit a home run off of someone, Euro stepped when he got to home plate, then got struck out by that someone, and he failed really hard at Euro stepping off the mound. He looked like an idiot.
Yeah, there's actually, I think, been a couple pitchers who have done that celebration when they strike him out. I couldn't tell you who they were, but I'm pretty sure I've seen that.
People just can't let people have fun. Don't let them hit bombs off you.
Another person who is growing the game of baseball right now is Kasumba Dennis. He is a teenager in Uganda who is trying to come to the U.S. and get a scholarship to play baseball. Any college, anywhere, trying to get a scholarship or possibly an international contract with an MLB team.
There are two relatively famous people who have offered to send him stuff. Walker Buehler from the Dodgers offered to send him everything that he needs. And Jared Carabas, not Carrabba's, the restaurant. He is a podcaster. He also offered to send him stuff. He also has a bit of a fan club growing. So I found a GoFundMe that at the time that I took my notes had raised $6,466 in donations. We're not going to share the GoFundMe, not because we don't support it, but because I can't verify if it's legit or not. And so
yeah, we don't want to promote something that could potentially make you lose your money and it doesn't go to where it's intended to go to.
But we do encourage you to go look up and see if you're interested in finding a way to donate to him. If you find a legit one, feel free to message us about it. We'd be happy to look into it. But chances are we're not going to share any ones that we aren't responsible if people do the things that people do.
The reason why it's gaining so much traction, I think, is that he's posting all these videos on his Twitter in virtually no legitimate baseball equipment. He's made his own glove. I've seen a couple where he just has some cardboard like held in his hand and he's practicing balancing on cinder blocks while he has a weight attached to his hand to get strength in his catching hand. He's just catching a baseball with a piece of cardboard and a bunch of stuff like that. So, that just shows determination to work hard and achieve your goal no matter your circumstances. And I think that extends beyond baseball. Like anybody can connect with that.
I agree. And the things that he has accomplished are crazy. Like he's a switch hitter. He throws like 85 to 90 miles an hour.
Yeah. I kind of scrolled to the beginning of his Twitter page and I think he was actually promoting himself as a pitcher at first, because he was saying he could throw 90 miles an hour and stuff like that, and then I think transitioned into catching. And one of the most recent posts, I think he said his pop time, which catch to release, was like under 2 seconds, which is
I can't do anything in 2
crazy.
seconds. He also has an Instagram and a YouTube, and is trying really hard to just promote himself so that the right people find him. There have been a lot of people also tagging professional teams in like Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Last I heard, there was no interaction.
No, there hasn't. I don't think there's been any official interaction. I think I don't know if it was a legitimate account, but there was a comment on one of his posts that I saw today that was from MLB Communications. It wasn't a verified thing, but they were like, "Hey, do you own this?" You know how when people reach out, like, "Hey, do you own this video? Can we show it on MLB Network?" So it could be that it's just not verified because they only tweet when they are reaching out to people to get the rights to their video. But
They don't want to pay to get verified.
no.
Oh, okay.
And they're canceling their deal with YouTube TV this year, so they're clearly not hurting for money.
Yikes.
Or maybe they need to save that money since they're not getting it from YouTube TV.
Maybe they're saving the $8 a month so that they can send it to him.
Unlikely, but
Way to go, MLB. So obviously, because this is only our second episode, we are still trying to find ways to make things more interactive and get more people involved. So I had an idea, and I think that it could be really fun because I know I enjoy reading the fangrams when I go to the games. I was thinking that we could, before we record, we could have you guys send in fangrams, and we could basically just give a shout out to someone like, "Hey, Kristen, Carrie thinks you're swell," and make it more interactive and personal. So if you guys are interested in doing that, let us know, give us some feedback. But also, I wouldn't necessarily call this a battle, but maybe a difference of opinions. As a female who likes sports, I still like female things. So I like trashy TV and things like that. But a big passion of mine is following wives of baseball players on things. So I care a lot about the wives of the Rays players specifically, but I'd be willing to expand who I care about if you guys were interested in hearing. Like, I would love to share that Brandon Lau's wife finally had their baby, and he is wonderful, and I'm very excited for them. But we are not only a Rays baseball podcast, so if you'd like to hear about other people's wives, I'll share things with you guys that I think are interesting, even if it's just a minute for me to rapid fire facts about the wives of baseball players. So please provide more feedback. And if you don't think that it's a good idea, tell us that you do anyways, just because I can't let Will win.
And just provide us feedback in general. Like, we getting some comments from people regularly, but we would love to hear from everyone. Just if you have listened to the episodes, just drop a like, follow, subscribe, comment. Let us know how we're doing. We're new to it, so again,
Or just say hi.
yeah, or that, or just say hi. So on the note of getting feedback, one of our first comments on Twitter was on our first episode post, and it actually came from somebody from the UK at BobGary96 on Twitter. Thank you for your comment, and I think it's really awesome that we're already having our reach extend internationally.
Yeah. As soon as he told me about it, I ran into my boss's office and shared that we have recorded one whole episode, but we are already international. I think at the time we only had like 14 listens, but one of them was international, and that counts. But also, because we are here for your interactions, we did ask if there was anything that you guys would like to hear about. any questions that you would like to have answered, and we did have people submit stuff. First off, I'd like to call out William, because you keep talking to me about the World Baseball Classic, but you need to be really more specific. Not just the World Baseball Classic, and also not just the Puerto Rico team for the World Baseball Classic. What would you like us to talk about specifically? Rowdy has submitted a question for us on our Facebook page, and he would like to know, what player from another team would you most like to see signed to the Rays? Or maybe college players if you follow college ball. Ain't nobody got time for college ball.
I mean, the first one that came to mind was Aaron Judge, but I'm also trying to think of what the Rays need, which is like a left-handed bat that can also hit with power. But Aaron Judge can hit left-handed and right-handed pitching, so I think he pretty much fills that spot.
I don't know that I would enjoy Aaron Judge being a part of our team.
Why? Just because he's currently on the Yankees?
I don't want to have to deal with everything that we're going to hear when he leaves the Yankees to come to the Rays. Then Yankee fans are going to have something to say.
That's fine.
I don't want to hear about it.
They can judge all they want. So, what's your answer? If you're being judgy on Judge,
You know who I want? I was going to say Ohtani.
that would have fit the left-handed bat.
Ohtani.
Can't believe that didn't come to mind. I was
Can't
thinking.
believe you picked Judge first.
I mean, I was thinking more like the moves that Rays would actually make for a left-handed hitter, which is like Kirilloff and Joey Gallo and stuff like that. But
Ohtani.
that would never happen. I don't think Judge would either. But
I was going to say. He didn't say it had to be realistic, just who we wanted.
yeah, that's what I was going to say before.
No, I can't believe I had a better pick than you. Go me.
Judge won MVP. Ohtani didn't. So is he the better pick?
You already know that he's the better pick. You want Ohtani more than you want Judge.
Yeah.
Ohtani was also on the MLB, the show cover.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
So other people agree.
Yeah. Ohtani signed a deal with New Balance earlier this week. And
Why?
so many, I don't know. He's like online practicing in them and stuff, and there's so many people who are just like, is he gonna have a special dad shoe cleat or something? Because that's the only thing that would make this worth it.
Speaking of angels,
The angel baby.
the greatest
And she gone.
little liquid cat of all time just jumped up on the couch, for those of you who can't see. Although I'm really sad that she didn't speak to us while she was here. That's all we've got for you this week. Thanks so much for listening. Don't forget to like, follow, share, subscribe, interact, comment, all of those things. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Our handle is the same on all of those platforms at Baseball Chain. And we're also going to be working on a website that we'll probably introduce to you sometime in the next few weeks, because we're enjoying you guys so much. We hope you are enjoying us as well.
We look forward to seeing you all again next week. This has been the Baseball and Chain podcast. Till death do us baseball.
Good night.
What if they're listening in the morning?
Good morning.